lied to. For the first part of my life, I was told someone who was not my father was. When I was finally told the truth, it changed me. Who I was, what my story was, what the future had in store for me. You see, for the first part of my life, I was white, albeit with an excellent tan, but that was a part of my identity. When I found out my biological father was black, it started to change who I was and how I saw the world. And not inconsequentially, it changed how I saw the world looked at me. You see, in those early years, I grew up believing that a man from Texas who knew the truth about me was my father, and that Buckwheat was a cool nickname that I received because of what a Little Rascals fan that he was. As I struggled to integrate this newfound knowledge into my worldview, I looked for black heroes that I could look up to and emulate. I soon found out there weren't as many as I once assumed there were, and most of those didn't reflect the anger that I felt at the time. I was a young, adolescent, newly designated black man. I had been lied to for most of my life, and I had all the angst and anger that you would have expected to come with that. It took some time, but I found my angry black hero where I found most of my other heroes, in the movies. In 1992, Spike Lee took on the life story of Malcolm X, starring Denzel Washington. Personally, I believe that Denzel deserved the Oscar for this performance rather than the one in Training Day, and definitely more than Al Pacino did in Scent of a Woman. But that's a rant for another time. Born Malcolm Little, he endured tragedy early on. His father was killed and his mother placed in a mental hospital. He bounced through a series of foster homes. At age 20, he went to prison for larceny and breaking and entering. Like I said, he was angry. While in prison, he became a member of the Nation of Islam and changed his name to Malcolm X. He rejected the last name he was given at birth, believing it to have come from slave owners, adopting instead the algebraic symbol X to represent his unknown true heritage. To his admirers, he was a courageous advocate of civil rights, a man who indicted white America in the harshest terms for its crimes against black Americans. His detractors accusing him of preaching racism and violence. It was because of him that when I referenced the X-Men in my earlier video this week, I was proud to side with Magneto. The X-Men being an allegory for race in America, among many things. Magneto represented Malcolm X to his counterpart in the civil rights movement, Martin Luther King Jr., whose comic book counterpart was somewhat ironically dubbed Professor X. In one of his more infamous speeches, Malcolm X said,
"We declare our right on this earth to be a man, to be a human being, to be respected as a human being, to be given the rights of a human being in this society, on this earth, in this day, which we intend to bring into existence by any means necessary."
He didn't feel the need to ask to be given his rights. He would simply take them. Tragically, he was assassinated for turning his back on the Nation of Islam and disavowing racism against whites. He's been called one of the greatest and most influential African Americans in history. He's even been immortalized on a postage stamp. Not many of my heroes get that. But just this past year, his daughter expressed fears that he might be disappearing from history. And the truth is, he might be. With African Americans increasingly dominating popular music and in places in power like the White House, some are beginning to forget or purposely neglect figures like Malcolm X. He wasn't afraid to show the America that he saw, or the pain and anger that it caused him. Not I, though. Malcolm X, you are my hero. May you always be remembered.